Hello out there, this is Wake Angel 2001, and I have a promise to fulfill. I said, after I built all the Robotocized Masters, that I would only hold on to them long enough to show off at New York Comic Con this year. A task which I accomplished, and it was really cool because all the guys who created the comics loved them, and it was so awesome, and everybody said it was great. And they said I should professionally get into toy making, which I might actually look into, because that sounds like an awesome career path for me. But but that's for the far future. For right now, we're just talking about my aforementioned promise. I've had a chance to show them off at Comic-Con, so that means it is time to sell them. Yes, it is time to part with my Magnus Opus. It's been fun, guys, but I just don't have the space for you guys, and I'm sure that my fans would appreciate you. So let's get you all out onto the screen one at a time so I can showcase you off. First up is Tailsman. Tailsman was the first of the Robotocized Masters that I made. He actually still uses Super Sculpey. He was yeah. Because back when I started this project, I still used Super Sculpey. Although he does have parts made out of foam too. So his shoulder pads and his little wings, they're made out of foam, so you don't have to worry about them cracking. Now, the figure's been around for a while, and I don't think anything's going to happen to him. He still has most of his original tails articulation. I'm not sure about the waist joint, but I'm not going to go futzing with the articulation on camera. And I haven't really noticed any degeneration, aside from maybe a little tiny crack here in the foot. But nothing seems to be growing, and if anything was gonna happen and this guy would fall apart, he would have done so already. He's unfortunately lost a little bit of his luster, because I used that older orange paint that just wasn't as bright. So he's probably the least spectacular of the Robotocized Masters. I'm sorry about that. But he's the Mark 1. I might actually make a replacement for him if demand is high enough. But he still held up very well. The only thing that ever happened to him as long as I've had him was that his ear fell off. I glued it back on and it never came off again. Second Roboticized Master, Knucklesman. I honestly can't remember, but I'm pretty sure this guy is also made using Super Sculpey instead of Epoxy Sculpt. I think this is one of the last figures I made using Super Sculpey, if so. The only defect with this character is a defect with the original figure in that one of its legs was slightly longer than the other. So when he stands, one of his feet has to be slightly in front of the other in order for him to look like he's standing straight and normal. But I haven't really seen any big noticeable cracks forming on him either. He is solid. He uses much brighter paints that makes him look cooler and more shiny metallic than Tailsman does. And he's also part of the lot. Oh, well, there's some paint scuff on that leg, but don't worry. I'll fix the paint scuffs before I sell them. Don't worry. Third in the line is Rosewoman. Yep, Rosewoman, one of my personal favorites. She definitely uses epoxy sculpt in all of her sculpted bits, so you don't have to worry about any chipping or cracking with her. Everything on her is held up just fine. Her joints are not too loose or anything. The only flaw that she may have is the pegs that keep her hammer hands in sometimes fall out. But if they fall out, you just push them back in. They are not loose. She's not gonna drop them by accident by any means, as you can see by that quick little shake test. And the tightness in her elbows and shoulder joints are tight enough that she can hold the hammers up if she wants. Up next is one of the more popular Roboticized Masters. It is Shadowman. Shadowman is every bit as awesome as the day that I built him. He has not suffered any paint scuff or any cracks or anything. The only weaknesses he has is weaknesses that the original figure had. His shoulder joints are a little bit loose, but not extremely so. Next up is Silverman. The only weakness of Silverman is that he is painted white. So you all know how white paint is so difficult to work with. But so there's some parts where the paint looks a little bit thick on him. But this guy had some of the most extensive sculpt work of the group with that gigantic forehead crest. And he is really good and solid for posing. He has the bicep and knee swivel, so he's actually one of the most articulated of the Roboticized Master figures. Everything about him is great. There's no signs of staining, of yellowing in the paint, or any cracks or anything like that. He is in pristine shape. I can say the same thing for what's arguably his companion Roboticized Master, Blazewoman. Hold on, let me see if I can trick the camera into focusing on her. Oop, her tail's in the way. Oop, there we go. Yeah, so Blazewoman, she also held up well. She's another one of my favorites. She has that cool fire thing on the tip of her tail, and everything on her sculpt has held up. No cracks, no little bit of a seam line in the sculpting on her head, but other than that, she's perfect and good to go. Next up is one of the first Chaotix Masters. Here's Espoman. Espoman is in perfectly good order, made from an Espo action figure. His only weakness being that like Knucklesman, one of his legs was sculpted slightly longer than the other leg. Problem I cannot fix. So he too stands best with one foot slightly in front of the other. Other than that, everything about him is in perfect order. Nothing on his sculpt is scraping. His paint is fine. And that's Espoman. Then we have Vectorman. Vectorman was a little bit of a problem child with his big shoulder pads coming off sometimes. But I glued them back on. I carried him all the way to Manhattan and back in the box, and nothing on him has shaken loose or come off at all. His paint work, like the others, is immaculate and has not suffered any kind of degradation or chipping. So he's perfectly good to go and in order. And then last of the Chaotix Masters is Charmyman, made from Charmy the Bee. This was the one that I was most nervous about breaking on my trip to Comic-Con. His little rocket boosters occasionally come off. They are just held on with glue, but they are easy to glue back on, as I have molded them I sanded them into the shape so that they would easily be able to reattach if they fell off. So everything on Charmyman is good and has held up. His paint job, his sculpting, it's all good. And last but not least is Rougewoman, the last and one of the most popular Roboticized Masters. In fact, I've actually gotten requests, commission requests to make Shadowman and Rougewoman out of the Roboticized Masters for people who just wanted them. Let's put this card behind so she's in sole focus. Rougewoman is my favorite of the Roboticized Masters, and the one that I am most proud of. She uses some foam for her ears and wings because they are very large and very thin, and I was afraid if I tried to sculpt something like that, it would only snap. So yeah, everything on her is perfect and has held up. She still has pretty much all of the original Wade the Swallow articulation, except for the waist joint, which I believe is sealed by the sculpt I did on her butt. Either that or paint stuck, one or the other. And she is in perfect working order as well. So that's all 10 of the Roboticized Masters. And yes, I am going to sell them. The asking price, $300 for the entire set. That's $30 per figure, which is less than a standard commission fee. So you're actually getting to save. You're actually saving like $50 because of the usual amount that you would pay for a commission, plus shipping. Anywhere in the United States, I would guess the shipping would be roughly $6 or $7. I can't be sure until I know exactly where they're going. International shipping might be a little bit more. Again, I can't be too exact. It depends on what country it's going to and how much the final package weighs. But yes, if you want to buy the complete set of Robotocized Masters, they will be $300. I'm not going to sell off individuals. I know some people probably want 1 or 2 of the Masters as opposed to the whole set, but these are the originals, my Magnus Opus. I spent months painstakingly creating every one of these, and they're practically my babies. I can't let this original set be separated. If you want an individual one, you're going to have to wait for your commission to come up, and then you can ask me to make one, because I am not going to separate the original 10. So, that's it. This is Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001. Contact me through a personal message if you are interested in buying this complete set. And I'm gonna sign off now.